This video is going to review how to simplify rational expressions. When we're simplifying rational expressions, we always want to factor first and then cancel any common factors. So if I take a look at my first example, x squared minus x minus 6 over 5x squared plus 10x. The first thing I want to do is factor my numerator and my denominator separately. So my numerator is a trinomial. I'm going to set up two parentheses. Each piece gets an x. I'm going to keep my negative, and a negative times a negative is a positive, and I'm looking for the factors of 6. That will give me 1. So those factors are 2 and 3. Bigger number comes first, so it becomes an x minus 3 and an x plus 2. In my denominator, 5x squared plus 10x, I'm going to use GCF. They can both be divided by a 5 and an x. So I'm going to take out a common factor of 5x. And remember, when you're factoring by GCF, it's like dividing. So 5x squared divided by 5x leaves me with x. And 10x divided by 5x leaves me with 2. So now that my numerator and denominator are both factored, I'm going to look for anything they have in common. Both the numerator and the denominator have a factor of x plus 2. So they cancel. It's like 5 divided by 5. It's 1. So since nothing else cancels, I'm just going to rewrite what's left over. I have x minus 3 over 5x. And that's my final answer. Let's take a look at our next example. 8 minus 2x over x squared minus 8x plus 16. So once again, we want to factor our numerator and our denominator. In my numerator, 8 minus 2x has a greatest common factor of 2. 8 divided by 2 gives me 4, and 2x divided by 2 gives me x. In the denominator, I have a trinomial, so I'm going to set up two parentheses. An x goes in each. I have a negative, and a negative times a positive is a negative. So I'm looking for the factors of 16. That will give me 8. So my factors are 4 and 4. So I have x minus 4 and x minus 4. Now, I'm checking after I factor for anything that's the same, anything that's in common between the top and the bottom. So if you notice, they're kind of similar. I have a 4 minus x and an x minus 4. So they're actually going to cancel, but instead of canceling to 1, they're going to cancel to a negative 1. And that's the only thing that matches. So now I'm going to just rewrite it. In my numerator, I have a 2 times a negative 1, so I have a negative 2. And in my denominator, I have x minus 4. And that's it. All right, let's look at two more examples. So my third example says 4x over 2x squared minus 4x. First step when we're simplifying is to factor. 4x can't be factored, so I'm going to keep it. In my denominator, I have a greatest common factor once again. 2x squared and 4x can both be divided by 2x. And once again, remember that this is like dividing. So 2x squared divided by 2x is x, and 4x divided by 2x is 2. Once you factor, you're looking for anything that's in common. So if I take a look at my numerator and denominator, they both have an x, and that cancels to 1. And I also have a 4 and a 2. 4 and 2 are not exactly the same, but they have a common factor of 2. So 2 divided by 2 is 1, and 4 divided by 2 is 2. Nothing else matches or can be canceled, so now I'm going to just rewrite it. In the numerator, I have 2 times 1, which gives me 2. And in the denominator, I have 1 times x minus 2. So I just have x minus 2. Let's take a look at our last example. So in our last example, I have 9 minus x squared over x minus 3 cubed. So let's take a look at our numerator, and we want to try to factor. So in my numerator, I have a difference of perfect squares. Remember, difference of perfect squares, it's two parentheses, one with a plus, one with a minus, and then you're going to square root each piece. So the square root of 9 is 3, so the first part gets a 3, and the square root of x squared gets an x. So I have 3 plus x and 3 minus x. Now in the denominator, I have x minus 3 to the third power. That can't be factored, but it can be expanded. Because remember, anything to the third power really means it's being multiplied by itself 3 times. So I'm going to write out that x minus 3 times, because it's cubed. So now I'm looking in the top and the bottom. Is there something that's the same? So in my numerator, I have 3 minus x, and in my denominator, I have x minus 3. Once again, they're not exactly the same, so I can cancel them, but it's that special case where I have a negative 1. Nothing else cancels, so I'm going to rewrite what I have. I have a negative 1 times 3 plus x over x minus 3, and there's 2 of them, so I'm going to write it as squared. You could distribute that negative 1, but you don't have to. So remember, simplify means to factor and cancel.